Hello and welcome to another Assemble This video. Today I'm going to be combining some ink blending and Copic coloring to create a really soft and serene, heartfelt card to send to somebody. So stick around and I'll share my tips and tricks for ink blending with stencils and Copic coloring. I'm featuring a stamp set from Unity Stamp Company called Blooms of Solace. It can be used for Easter, sympathy cards, heartfelt support cards, just a really beautiful image overall. I've stamped it on some white cardstock using Gina K amalgam ink, and I do heat set that just to make sure it is nice and dry and it won't bleed with any of the ink blending or marker coloring. To hold my stencil in place, I do have a grip mat from Waffle Flower on my work surface. And then I just place this 3-in-1 stencil from Unity over top my image. And I centered it so the rays are kind of coming out from the center of the cross where the arms meet. And then I'm just starting to build up my ink blending through that stencil using 2 colors of Distress ink. The lighter one is Tumbled Glass, and I'm doing that from the cross out. Though I am avoiding the stamped image slightly, I don't mind if it crosses over. The Copic coloring will kind of blend it out, or if those rays are kind of looking like they're coming from the stamped image, that's okay too. I'm not being precious about it, but I'm also not trying to cover that image too much. Leave a little bit of area for my Copic coloring. I do load up my ink blending brush and then lightly ink blend it on. I don't want a big splotch of color, so I start really light and then increase my pressure as I start to lose some of that ink on the blending brush. Next, I've moved on to the darker color, which is Broken China. This will really create a lot of dimension with the softness coming from the center of the image and then getting darker as we get out towards the edge. And I'm overlapping those colors. So there's a nice soft blend. Again, this is a light touch. You can always build up color, but it's harder to take it away. So just start lightly and then build it up as you go along. Next, I'm going to move on to the Copic coloring. I have a range of R colors. I'm starting out with just a real quick light color. I'm not covering up the whole entire flower image at this point. I'd like to kind of keep some of that light white in the background of the coloring. But I did start with the R21 just to kind of lay down some color, saturate the paper a little bit. So when I come in with these richer colors, it's already started to build up and soak into the paper. I am using Nina Solar White paper to color on. It's my go-to. I use it all the time. Another option would be Hammermill paper. I use that as well. So I'm building up the darkness of the flower from the center and moving out. If the flower is a side view, I start from the bottom and then move up. That's just how I tend to work with flowers. It's usually where the darkness is in nature. It's from the center out or from the bottom up. And I'm just slowly spreading out the darker colors and blending it with the R21 so I get a nice overall blend. Now the background has a lot of cool tones to it. They're cool tone blues, so I wanted the foliage to have a cool tone, and I'm using BG colors to achieve that. So it's green, but it has like a blue tint to it. And I'm just coloring all the leaves. This is really easy coloring. It doesn't take much detail. Again, I'm using a very light hand and light strokes to cover this area. I don't want to be heavy-handed because then we'll lose the detail of the stamped portion, the black shading area. So I'm just kind of doing strokes here and there, leaving a bit of the area white so we have some highlight built in, and just going between the 3 colors to build up some color on the foliage. And then last, I'm working on the cross. Again, I'm using that light-handed flicking motion to fill in the areas following the lines that are on the stamp. I went with cool grays, so I have C2, C4, and C5. And I'm just lightly filling in the cross with that flicking motion. I like to keep some of that white, but if I cover it all, it's not the end of the world. But I am doing that flicking. I started with the darkest color and then moving in with the lightest and then the mid-tone, and then I'll probably blend it all out with that lightest color at the end as well. Kind of gives texture to that cross that mimics the wood grain that we have going on. And this also covered up that ink blending really well. Since I went really light-handed when I was getting close to the cross, the Copics covered up that ink blend. And then last, I just added a few white pen highlights. It just really helps the image pop. And here's the final look. I just really love the tone of this card. It's really soothing and serene, but those red flowers just really pop out at you against all the soft blues in the background. To finish the card off, I just did some die cutting of the background and the sentiment, and then adhered them to a blue card base that matched the tones of the card. And here is the final look of our very soft and serene sympathy card or heartfelt support card. I just really love how the Copic markers are popping against that ink blended background through the stencil. As always, I'll have the supplies linked in the description of this video and at my blog, dahlhouse-designs.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to like and subscribe to catch all my video tutorials, and I hope to see you again soon for another video. Bye!